Hey, I'm Andy Fogarty from the AtHomeWelder.com, and today I'm going to teach you how a well-known farm animal, yes, a farm animal, will make all the difference in the world in your finished iron railing. Now, I'm going to teach you not only how to do this and what it is, but when and when not to use this method. Okay, so what is this farm animal that's going to make all the difference in your finished iron railing? Well, I'm talking about the lamb's tongue. Now, a lamb's tongue is the name they've given to an end piece that goes on your cap rail. You'll see these, they overhang right off the end post. Now, I have no idea why they call these lamb's tongue. I guess a lamb's tongue might look something like that. But there are many different variations of this. This is a very common one that we see a lot, and there's different variations like this, like you have a little ball with swirls in it, and they get even fancier and fancier, and they come way down. There's many, many different versions. But now what you see most of the time is a lot of people, they'll just take their cap rail and they'll just kind of bend it over and get this sort of feel to it. But it's all one piece and all part of the cap rail. Now that's nice, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just very plain and basic. It doesn't really add any sort of flair to it. And when you're working with basic railings like this, a lot of times it's just nice to go over and above to add little details like this that are very inexpensive and very easy to do. So the trick is to always put your lamb's tongue on first, no matter what kind of lamb's tongue you have. So you can see that we have our grooves here. It's just like your cap rail. So I mean, it really is. It's molded just like cap rail. So you have those cool little grooves there, and this is going to fit right on top of our channel that we use. You see, it just fits right there, nice and snug. And what we're going to do is just clamp it down, whatever clamps you like to use. I love my vice grips. Clamp that down. We're going to weld this here on the sides. We're not going to weld in here because then that'll get in the way of our cap rail that we're going to slide up against here. So we're just going to put two little tacks on either side just to hold this in place. Okay, so now that we have this welded in place, now we can put our cap rail up against it. And you can see there's actually a difference. This is raised. This is a little bit thicker than this, and that's because this is actually cast. This is a cast iron piece or cast steel piece. Either way, it's put in a mold and it's shaped to fit this. It's not like your cap rail, which is actually hot rolled from a mill. So these pieces aren't made together, so they're never going to be perfect. So what we're going to do is we're actually just going to lift this up. I'm just going to use my fingers and lift this up to where it's flush. Now we're only lifting this up about 1/16 of an inch, so it's okay. We're not going to see, it's not going to be a noticeable difference along the top of the cap rail when you're looking at it from a distance, or even up close, because it's only 1/16 of an inch. Now if this was 1/2 of an inch, then obviously we'd be able to tell. Now, but before I do this, I'm going to put a clamp further down here, far enough away so I can lift this up, but far enough away also so that it's going to keep it in place and it won't jiggle. Now I'm just going to raise this up with my finger, kind of hold it in place, my thumb's down here, just holding it in place, and then I'm going to tap it. Okay, now that I have my cap rail all welded on here, so I know it's not going to move, and it's tack welded to my lamb's tongue here, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish up this weld across the lamb's tongue and seal it up. Now, one thing I want to show you about the grinding. This is where a lot of people get a little scared, and the reason why they don't like doing this method is because they do have to grind this, and it is on the cap rail, so you want it to be nice and flush and look really pretty. Now, the thing is, where most people get where things get a little ugly most of the time is this little seam here. You see this little seam? It's the small seam, outside seam going along the line of the cap rail. Now the problem is grinding this, because when you're filling this in, you're going to have weld there, and the problem is when you're trying to grind that down, it gets ugly. You grind away this seam here. There's a little lip right there. You grind that away, or it gets a little wobbly, and it doesn't look good. What I like to do is I use a cutoff disc. I just use a cutoff wheel, because what this does is this allows me to get flat in here and just go right along that edge. So I can grind away everything that's here and still leave an edge there. So it gives a nice, smooth finish, almost like we never even welded that on there. So that's it. I'm Andy Fogarty for the AtHomeWelder.com, and I will see you next time for more tips and tricks for the hobbyist and beginner welder.